This is Nightly Business Report with Tyler Matheson and Sue Herrera.
Economic challenges, there are a lot of them, and no matter who wins the White House, the next president will have a long list of things to do. Blue-collar blues, why many in the heartland are thinking about jobs when they head to the polls. America's bullhorn, social media played a big role during the presidential campaign, and it's pulling out all the stops to get people's attention today. Those stories and more tonight on Nightly Business Report for Tuesday, November 8th. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sue Herrera. Tyler Matheson is on assignment tonight. Election day is here, finally. And today, stocks climbed, extending the rally from yesterday, which saw the biggest gains in 8 months. It wasn't just stocks. Bond yields also rose, as did the price of oil and the Mexican peso, seen as sensitive to the election outcome. It strengthened against the dollar. Americans went to the polls to vote for the next president of the United States in what has been a contentious campaign season. Hillary Clinton cast her vote this morning in Chappaqua, New York. Donald Trump in New York City. And by the close, Wall Street, Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 73 points to 18,332. The Nasdaq added 27, and the S&P 500 rose 8. But no matter who wins the White House, the next president faces a number of economic challenges, including slow growth, rising income inequality, jobs moving overseas, and a growing deficit. Andrew Friedman, principal at the Washington Update, joins us now to talk about that. Good to see you, Andrew. Welcome.
Hi, nice to see you, Sue.
Let's start, first of all, we're going to go with each candidate individually. Let's start with Ms. Clinton. She may be working with a difficult or recalcitrant Congress. What do you think she's going to be able to get done?
Well, you're right. I mean, at a minimum, she's going to be facing a House that's Republican and, as you say, recalcitrant. They're not going to want to necessarily implement her programs. And that makes it harder because a lot of her programs for the economy, additional social spending and things like that, won't happen. But I think there are 3 areas where we might see some progress. One is an infrastructure program providing jobs to try to repair the nation's infrastructure. The second is perhaps repatriation of overseas earnings from multinational companies. As you know, we have $2 trillion of earnings overseas that can't be brought back without a 35% tax. And there's some idea maybe we could lower that tax rate, get that money back. So I think those are 2 areas. The third is trade. While the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, is probably dead, I do think the House leadership is pro-trade, as is Clinton. Right. And so I think that might be an area of agreement.
Where will she not be able to make progress? I know she's calling for a higher minimum wage, student loan relief, a number of other issues that Congress, at least publicly, has kind of pushed back on.
Yes, those are perfect examples. Congress is concerned about the deficit, at least the Republicans are, and her programs cost a lot of money. Government-sponsored education, government-sponsored child care, student loan relief, higher minimum wage. I think those will run into headwinds in the House and won't happen.
Let's move to Mr. Trump. Defense spending has been on the list. Tax cuts have been on the list. And he'll be dealing with, we presume, a much more agreeable and favorable congressional structure.
Exactly. I assume that the Senate will go the way of the White House. So Trump would be facing a Republican Congress, which would be only too happy to cut taxes and increase spending on defense. So I think that is one thing that could initially perhaps help the economy. What would hurt the economy are his trade proposals. He has an American First proposal. He wants to impose a high tariff on exported goods. Our trading partners will retaliate, and that means exports will plunge from the U.S. and consumer prices will rise because we don't have foreign competition. I think the other concern about a Trump presidency, and this happens with the Clinton presidency too, is they're not addressing the final economic point you raised, which is the deficit. Under either president, the deficit goes up. Under Trump, I think it explodes, and you end up with so much debt, you have to wonder if we don't see a recurrence of some of the debt problems we saw a number of years ago.
Now, if Mr. Trump wins, as I said, he has a more favorable congressional structure, we assume at this point. But if Ms. Clinton wins, how does she then get anything done?
Well, if she can't get things through Congress, and I don't think she will by and large, then she's going to resort to the use of executive order and regulation the same way President Obama has. And then you'll see, I think, her picking and choosing various sectors that could have trouble. Financial services with more enforcement and an expansion of Dodd-Frank, pharmaceutical companies because she wants to go after drug prices, fossil fuels, she doesn't want to have drilling on federal lands. So there, I think it's a kind of a picking and choosing of industries that she wants to unilaterally change.
Andrew, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sue. I appreciate it.
Andrew Friedman with the Washington Update. Economic and money issues are top of mind as Americans across the country cast their vote. Tonight, our reporters are covering the topics important to you, your money, and business. From the gaming industry in Nevada to Arizona's propositions, the influential millennial vote in Colorado, and manufacturing jobs in Indiana. But we begin with Diana Olick, who spoke to retirees about entitlements in Delray Beach, Florida.
Politics and pickleball don't mix, at least not at the Kings Point retirement community in Delray Beach.
There's been a lot of political discussions on the bench as we wait to come in the game. Once you're on the court, all bets off. 3 of this mixed doubles group are Clinton supporters. 1 is for Trump.
I think he addressed the issues that are important to me.
But the issues are more varied in this community than you might expect.
Well, I Googled how they stand on all of the important issues to me, and Social Security was certainly one of the issues. Healthcare was certainly one of the issues. Women's rights, certainly one of the issues.
Out on the golf course, Judy Herman and her fellow player Evelyn Workman told us it was very hard to get past the nastiness to find the issues.
I had to consider the personality and the things that had been on the air about Donald Trump and the things that he had said. I voted for the lesser of the evils, basically. I did not care for Hillary. I think she has a lot of baggage also, but I felt I had to vote for her.
When specifically asked about issues usually important to seniors, she did express concern.
I'm 73, and I think that a lot of people my age who are still active adults going out and doing things all day still depend on some of those programs. Medicare is a big program.
Judy's husband, a veteran who worked for the Army for 35 years, was equally concerned for the future of his 7 grandchildren, but also worried about America's place in a changing world economy.
Russia seems to be doing what she feels like. China is moving into a whole new mode. We don't have any really naval presence in the China Sea, so we're losing respect all over the world.
The one issue that came up over and over among seniors here was honesty. The hope being that honesty in the White House is not too old-fashioned. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Diana Olick in Delray Beach, Florida.
Next, we head to Terre Haute, Indiana, and Phil LeBeau.
The line to vote at Baszler's Market in Terre Haute, Indiana, wound its way through 2 aisles as folks waited 45 minutes to an hour to cast a ballot.
I voted for Trump because the thought of having him president is less scary than having Hillary as president.
I voted for Hillary Clinton because I just don't think Donald Trump is ready to be in office yet as a president. I just don't think. I know she's kind of crooked, but my best choice right there.
For most of the people here in Terre Haute, whether they've waited in line to vote on Election Day or if they voted in advance, their number one concern is picking a president who will get the economy growing at a faster clip. Because in this area, there's a sense that Terre Haute is not seeing the same benefits as the rest of the country when it comes to the economy.
Everybody wants prosperity. And so when they're going to vote, I believe that's what they're voting for. They want something that's dramatic to happen that's going to change so that they can have some prosperity.
Terre Haute, like many smaller cities in the Midwest, has the blue-collar blues. While manufacturers were hiring as the area came out of the recession, job growth has plateaued in recent years. At the same time, the average weekly income for Vigo County trails the rest of the state and is well below the national average. Trends many here believe Donald Trump can reverse with his plans to change America's trade agreements. If Trump wins this county, it raises the question of whether he wins the presidency. That's because this county has been carried by the eventual winner of the national election, all but 2 times since 1888. But some wonder if that trend ends this year.
The bellwether hypothesis of Vigo County correctly identifying the presidential election victor every year will fail this year, as Trump will probably win Vigo County and Hillary Clinton will probably win the national race.
Whoever wins, Terre Haute is hoping they bring a boost to an economy trying to catch up with the rest of the country. Phil LeBeau, Nightly Business Report, Terre Haute, Indiana.
Kayla Tausche is in Boulder, Colorado.
In battleground Colorado, more than 2/3 of ballots are cast by mail.
I voted in my room, mail order ballot, so I just filled it all out and then I dropped it off to the UMC.
Some 2.2 million votes counted as of Election Day. The two candidates taking decidedly different approaches here. Trump on offense.
By the way, we're doing extremely well, you do know.
Visiting the state personally 13 times this fall. Clinton playing defense, relying on ad spending by super PACs and high-profile surrogates in the homestretch.
You live in a state that is right on the edge. The election's going to be decided by the turnout tomorrow, by the margin here in Boulder, by the number of you who agree to go out and convince others to go to the polls.
Turnout by millennials, especially Hispanic millennials, will be closely watched.
I think that we make up the biggest voting bloc now as millennials, and I think that that will be the legacy of this election, is that millennials' voices were heard, and we decided the path that we wanted this country to go in.
In both Colorado and the rest of the country, millennials are now 1/3 of eligible voters, on par with baby boomers. Yet half don't affiliate with a political party.
It looks like those who are not that happy with Trump or Clinton are easily attracted, I think, by Johnson and Stein. And so we see probably in Colorado, those numbers will be a little bit higher than what you see in other states.
Take college Republicans Vice President Justine Sanders.
I voted for Evan McMullin. Personally, I felt he better represented conservative values.
No Republican has won the White House without the Centennial State since 1908. This year, a new generation could decide that outcome. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Kayla Tausche, Boulder, Colorado.
Contessa Brewer in Phoenix is looking at the state's key propositions.
Arizonans head to the polls today to elect a president, to decide whether to re-elect Senator John McCain, and to choose whether adults should be able to buy and use pot legally. At dispensaries like this one in Tucson, people can purchase medical marijuana, but Proposition 205 would regulate marijuana like alcohol, and it would levy a 15% tax on the purchase, with the proceeds going to schools and public health. But opponents are not convinced.
One of the issues that they're trying to play up is, this could harm the public. This could lead to harder drug use. This could not stop the underground market and, in fact, could make the underground market more dangerous.
Last year, the Border Patrol seized 800,000 pounds of marijuana in Arizona, but it doesn't see Prop 205 changing much for the drug cartels because they focus on moving heroin and meth across the border. The most recent poll from the Arizona Republic shows 50% support for legalizing recreational use, 42% opposed, 8% undecided.
Both sides say that it could be days until we know the outcome of this race.
Another proposition on the Arizona ballot would guarantee sick time and raise the minimum wage from $8.05 an hour to $10, increasing to $12 an hour by 2020.
I think we should raise the minimum wage. People need to be, they're hardworking and they need to be paid more money.
The Arizona Chamber of Commerce launched a campaign against it called Protect Arizona Jobs. Polls show 56% of Arizonans support raising the minimum wage. For Nightly Business Report, Contessa Brewer, Phoenix, Arizona.
And to Las Vegas, where Jane Wells is talking to casino CEOs.
No city in America may be more susceptible to the national mood than Las Vegas. When people feel good, they visit. When they feel bad, they don't. And while you cannot bet on the presidential election in Sin City, Vegas CEOs are nevertheless weighing their White House odds.
I'm hoping after tomorrow we won't have to talk about Donald Trump.
He's a negotiator,
first-class negotiator, best I've ever seen.
Rarely has there been so much dissension in a presidential campaign among the executives who rule the Strip. Here's how it breaks down. The head of MGM Resorts is a lifelong Republican who is backing Hillary Clinton.
Donald Trump has alienated every trading partner we have. Secretary Clinton will work with our trading partners.
Hello, my name is Phil Ruffin.
Phil Ruffin is also a Republican and all in for Trump. He owns Treasure Island and is also a partner in Trump's Las Vegas hotel.
When he says he can bring back jobs, Jane, you're talking about if he lowers the tax to 15% on corporations, they won't leave.
But the biggest GOP spender on the Strip is Sheldon Adelson, head of Las Vegas Sands, which owns the Venetian. He also happens to be the richest man in Las Vegas with an estimated net worth of $32 billion. Adelson and his wife have reportedly put up $35 million for anti-Clinton super PACs, but not directly in support of Donald Trump, though the Vegas newspaper he owns endorsed the Republican candidate. And finally, there's Steve Wynn.
I am befuddled.
Wynn is the lone Democrat in the group, though he has railed against the Obama administration.
Donald calls me and asks me what I think. Very often, I'll answer him. But Donald Trump is his own advisor.
Wynn wouldn't guess who will win the White House. And as for his own desires, he is the one CEO in Las Vegas playing his cards close to the vest. For Nightly Business Report, Jane Wells, Las Vegas.
Still ahead, pharmacy fight. CVS warns that it's feeling the heat of increased competition and its stock tumbles. Some positive news on the labor market. The rate of layoffs in the country fell to a record low as the number of job openings rise. According to the Labor Department, there were nearly 5.5 million job openings in September, a sign that companies are willing to hire despite a slow-growing economy. And about 3 million people quit their jobs, another positive sign. Workers tend to quit only when they get a better offer or they think they can find a better job. As Americans head to the polls, one Federal Reserve official is urging lawmakers to approve investment projects. Chicago Fed President Charles Evans said with interest rates low, investments in things like infrastructure could increase productivity. When it comes to the economy, Evans added that he's concerned about inflation. While he is comfortable with hiking interest rates in December, any hike thereafter should be very gradual. The competition to fill your prescriptions is heating up. And that's hurting CVS Health, which today said prescription growth is slowing and its profits will be hurt next year. Shares of the biggest U.S. drugstore chain tumbled more than 11% in today's trading session. Bertha Coombs has more on CVS's challenges.
CVS long had an advantage over competitors. Its Caremark division handled pharmacy benefits for large employers and insurers, and it also profited from its retail pharmacies filling prescriptions. But with concerns over high drug costs, competition in the drug supply chain is getting tougher, says analyst Ross Mukin.
The more challenging environment is causing a fight for share, and that's what's harming profits here.
Analysts at Leerink Partners say competitors are giving CVS a taste of its own medicine with restrictive pharmacy prescription networks. Walgreens paired with CVS rivals on 3 large contracts, including one with the Defense Department's health plan, where it will be the preferred retail pharmacy, leaving CVS out of network. CEO Larry Merlo told analysts that will result in a big drop in prescription volumes next year.
In total, we believe these network actions will result in more than 40 million retail prescriptions shifting out of our stores on an annualized basis.
The competition within the drug supply chain has heated up as consumers and employers are feeling the pain of rising drug costs. Drug wholesalers like AmerisourceBergen are cutting prices to gain market share. PBMs are now doing the same. With profit margins shrinking, the question is for how long?
You can't, give up so much price that it's, you can't earn a return long term, because then you just can't continue to offer the consumer what they need for their daily needs.
CVS says it will unveil the steps it's taking to deal with the loss of the major contracts at its Analyst Day next month. But after lowering its earnings outlook for 2017, CVS shares today closed at a 2-year low. Bertha Coombs, Nightly Business Report, New York.
Valiant's new management warns that its outlook is not very good, and that is where we begin tonight's market focus. The drug maker cut its full-year profit and sales guidance amid an increase in generic competition. The company's finance chief says there could still be more surprises as the company struggles to get back on track following a drug pricing and accounting scandal. The shares today were punished. They fell basically more than 21% to finish at $14.98. Pharmaceutical company Endo is facing increased competition and pricing pressures in its generic drug business, and the newly appointed CEO said the trends are likely to continue. The warning overshadowed the firm's better-than-expected results. Shares fell nearly 7.5% to $14.51. Steelmaker ArcelorMittal turned a profit in the latest quarter, with results being helped by higher iron ore prices and demand from the auto sector. The company warned, though, that profitability will lag in the current quarter as a result of higher coal prices, because coal is one of the ingredients needed to make steel. Shares fell more than 6% to $6.38. And investors had their first chance to react to Hertz's global disappointing quarterly results. The rental car company also cut its outlook for the year, citing higher costs and lower rental volume. Shares plunged 22% to $27.70. And online home goods retailer Wayfair saw its sales surge past analysts' expectations as an uptick in customers helped results. The company also posted a smaller than expected loss, but gave downbeat sales guidance for the current quarter. Shares were off 4% to $32.26. Well, throughout the political season, social media has proven a support group and a bullhorn for Americans. And in the final days of the election, social platforms like Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter pulled out all the stops to capture the attention of their users. Julia Borston has more on social media's election strategy.
The social water cooler provided a respite, a source of information, and a place for debate. And on Election Day, Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter are pulling out all the stops to be a destination for conversation and advertising.
During the primaries and in September, we also added a register to vote link at the top of our Facebook app that we estimate helped more than 2 million people register to vote, some who are registering for the first time. Facebook really is the new town hall, and we're proud of the role that we've played in enabling dialogue and increasing civic engagement.
Facebook is offering a range of tools to help its users get directions to polling places, info on voting requirements, candidates, and issues, plus a prompt to invite friends to vote. Facebook's targeting capabilities are an advantage. The company is seeing a surge in political ad dollars, particularly in competitive markets where TV inventory is scarce. Snapchat is also embracing the election with Go Vote Bitmojis, geofilters to remind people to vote, and live stories featuring election results, speeches, and analysis. Snapchat's also rolling out a range of political ads, including this one for Clinton that ran yesterday, while today Trump is running this geofilter. A range of down-ballot candidates are also turning to Snapchat ads to reach younger users. And Twitter is featuring a reminder to vote and enabling users to sign up for direct messages from @Gov about local Senate and federal races, reporting a large uptick in ad spending on its platform focused on key swing states. Over 1 billion tweets have been sent about the election since the debates began last year. Twitter saying this participation benefits the democratic process. The conversation also benefits Twitter and the other social platforms as they compete for users as well as ad dollars the attention brings. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Julia Borston in Los Angeles.
Coming up, in their own words, small businesses are the backbone of the American economy. Well, tonight they share their thoughts on this election. The presidential election drove uncertainty among small business owners to a 42-year high. But while uncertainty may be growing, so is their optimism. According to the latest report from the National Federation of Independent Business, optimism reached its best level of the year. The smallest U.S. businesses create the most American jobs and account for just about half of economic output. And a number of small business owners shared with our cameras their thoughts on the election and each of the candidates.
I have made up my mind, and I plan on supporting Donald Trump. Having the business background, I think, is something that I view as important right now. I think the politicians have been there long enough. When you're in business, you have to make the payroll, you have to pay your bills, and you have to have a good relationship with your bank. In this case, the American taxpayers have become the bank.
I will be voting for Hillary Clinton. I think she has proven over the years that she has the stature and the willingness to work across the aisle to get things done. I'm actually very scared by the potential presidency of Donald Trump.
The libertarian platform appeals to me. It is less government is better government. After the last 10 years of seeing how much government has grown, I could not agree with that concept more.
I will be voting for Donald Trump. Not only the business acumen, I think he has an understanding of what impacts business and hopefully providing some relief in the tax code and the regulatory space that I think will do business owners here in Colorado better than the plans put forth by Hillary Clinton.
Here's another look at how the major averages closed on this election day before we go. The Dow gained 73 points, the Nasdaq added 27, and the S&P 500 rose 8. And that will do it for Nightly Business Report for tonight. I'm Sue Herrera. Thanks for joining me. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.